let's take a minute to talk about this thing called the process version. Okay, the process version happens over here inside of the camera calibration panel, and essentially what it is every time Camera Raw comes out, Adobe has been changing things so significantly to the underlying structure of what's going on here that they create these different process versions. So if I change this to 2010, which is the old one, this is what you would have if you were working with Photoshop CS5 or even CS4. And I go over here to the basic panel, you'll see that there's exposure, recovery, fill light, blacks. These are the old sliders that we would have inside of Camera Raw. Okay. Now, if I go back here and I change it to 2012, you're going to see the new sliders: exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks. These are the newer sliders and the better sliders in my opinion. So the process version, the only time you'd really have to worry about this is if you opened a photo that was edited in Photoshop CS5 or Photoshop CS4's version of Camera Raw. Because what would happen is it would say the 2010 process version. You'd open the photo up in Camera Raw, you'd see a little exclamation point down here, and then you'd see the old sliders, the old CS5, CS4 sliders that would be right down here. At that point, you just have to make a choice. You'd have to say, all right, do I want to use the new sliders, or am I happy with the way the photo looks? And maybe I just want to convert it to a black and white. So I'll just go over here and convert it to a black and white. But overall, you're happy. There's really nothing you want to tweak, or you can tweak it and you're okay with using the old sliders. It's not like it's bad to use them. It's just be aware of the differences between the two. The old sliders, I personally don't think they work as well as the new sliders. But if you're happy with the way the photo looks and the way it was edited before CS6 and Camera Raw 7, you don't have to change a thing. If you want to change it, all you got to do is click on this little exclamation point. It'll update to 2012, and now you have the new sliders, and then you can go here and change. Now, for all photos from today going forward that you take and that you start to open up inside of Photoshop CS6 and Camera Raw 7, it doesn't matter. They're automatically going to open up into the new 2012 process version. So just keep that in mind. It only matters for photos that you worked on, not photos that were taken a long time ago. If you didn't work on them and didn't make Camera Raw changes, you'll still open it up if it's the first time into the 2012 process version. It's only photos that you might have worked on, changed some of the settings, and at that, the one thing to remember through all this is it only really affects the basic panel sliders and really only this group right here. Only this middle group of sliders: exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks. And if I switch it back over here to 2010, let's go back over, recovery, fill light, blacks, brightness, contrast. It only really affects this middle group and clarity. Okay, those are the only sliders that could appear a little bit different between process versions. Okay, so rule of thumb is, if it's an older photo that you edited in Camera Raw and you open it up in the new version of Camera Raw, you can just keep on editing it using the same sliders. Everything will be fine. Or if you want to, hit the exclamation point, convert it to the new one, and continue to edit. If it's anything new, disregard everything we just talked about. You won't need to worry about it. You won't need to do anything about it because you'll automatically be brought in to the newer 2012 process version.